Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Tawnya Love Show. I was just before I got on, I noticed today was 111, and I noticed that today at 11:11 and at 111, and I was like, oh, the date is like 111. So it's kind of interesting when we catch numbers, but I feel like there's a lot of connection in that number today. And if you feel led to go and look it up, you could Google search spiritual meaning of 111 or 11:11 and just kind of see what you feel if you resonate with that message. A lot of times when we're in a place of great change and rebirth, transformation, independence, and we're being nudged to really align with our spiritual mission, we will see this number. And it's kind of like a code of awakening, is what the angels say, a code of consciousness awakening within us. And so if you're not very familiar with numbers and like, why do I notice certain numbers on license plates, or when the time turns a certain number, it catches my attention, maybe go and read the Joanne Sacred Scribes website on some of these numbers and connect with what you were thinking right when you saw that number, or what you were processing, going through a decision you made. I just thought that'd be kind of fun to throw that out there. Today, the topic that I'm feeling inspired to speak on is the miscommunication and the misconception of angels, and like, what is an angelic being? What is an earth angel? What are these things that we're all talking about? And it's really become quite the normal, I feel like a normal shift that's coming in, because we're actually bringing in a great deal of shifts in consciousness. But for some, it may seem totally new that there's so many people that are channeling angels or healing with angels, workshops about connecting with your angels. Someone like myself, when I stand up at a network meeting, I'm like, I'm an angelic healer, and they just kind of look at me like they're freaked out, like, oh my God, is she a witch? And there's so much fear, and there's so much invention and myth behind things that often we can attach ourselves to these myths and these inventions, and it can really shut us down to being open and receptive when help arrives. I remember there was a great joke once that I heard about a guy, and he's like, I think he's stranded in a tree or something, and there's a flood, and he's like praying to God to help him and to come save him. And so someone finally comes by in a boat, and they're like, hey, jump in, I can help you. And he's like, no, I'm waiting, God will save me. And then the boat goes, okay, and they just take off. And then later someone comes by in a helicopter, and they're like, hey, come on in, I can help you. Oh no, I'm waiting, God's gonna save me. And the funny thing about that is I've met humans that are very much in this energy where someone comes along to bring them the exact answer or the solution to their problem, and they're like, nope, you didn't come in a package I'm comfortable with, or that I think needs to be the package it should arrive in, so I'll just wait, God will save me. And it's interesting because there's so much myth. I observe so much myth in the creation and the invention of God, and the creation and invention of religion. And so much of it, if you really do your research, is about control. It's about power. It's about corruption and greed, honestly, on a lot of scales. Religion can turn into quite a manipulative thing. Now, it's not a bad thing. I'm not shaming religion, but I just want to help bring some awareness and shifts in the understanding of angels in particular. And the only people that I have had any resistance with, the only people that seem to really be scared of me or really judgmental of me, all are very rigid, um, like almost like militant, religious people that really believe that there's something wrong with someone who can tune into spirit. There's something wrong with someone who could connect with angels, and that it's evil, and that it's from the devil, and oh, be careful. Is it black magic? And to me, I just laugh because it seems so insane to even think this. But I also have honor and compassion for where they are in their own awareness and where they are in their own consciousness. And so many of us, if we start to explore and ask and seek for truth, we really want truth, not just myth or fantasy and someone just telling us some story, then we will really start to ask the questions, and we'll start questioning everything. And that is when we will become liberated, when we'll become empowered. We cannot play victim anymore. We can't hide behind a religion and blame our crazy energy and actions on religion and they told me to do it. Or I see this everywhere. I see it in gang mentalities. I see it in the military. It's this energy of do what we say, don't question authority. And if you don't, there'll be a consequence. And it's usually very fear-based. And one of the hugest misconceptions of angels that I feel is that people a lot of times will associate angels with religion. So if people that I meet that grew up Catholic, had stories about angelic encounters in their stories, and they talk briefly about angels, and then they really worship and pray to saints and to Mary. And when you talk about angels to them, they see it more like it's just like a story, but they don't realize that angelic beings are still making a connection and their presence known to this day. In Bible stories, they talk about angels bringing messages, to the wise men when Christ was going to be born. And there's several places. I didn't go and research it, but I know there's many spaces in the Bible that actually reference angels. And in other religions, there are references of angels. In cultures like Aboriginal cultures where they're not even worshiping or studying any kind of religion, they have had encounters with angelic beings. So one of the things that I feel is important to realize is that an angelic being, in essence, is a higher conscious being that is assisting in awakening consciousness in those that are at a lower consciousness. So, an angelic being is a more galactic energy that comes in consciousness to assist humans. Sometimes humans are angelic beings that come to the earth to incarnate in human form and will assist in missions on that journey of being guardian angels for people or being messenger angels. Like, I really identify with that messenger angelic energy where I feel I'm here very much to bring messages of truth. Kind of like there's this angelic realm that a lot of people here on the planet Earth have been told stories about, and they're not truthful and they're not in alignment. And so it's causing confusion. It's actually shut down communication, and it's caused a lot of fear. And so a messenger angelic being like myself will come into human form with the intention of connecting with source, connecting with angelic beings, with their messages of truth and love, and then delivering them to humanity. And whoever is ready for them will connect with them and will be ready to accept them and do their work to shift and release old belief systems that are no longer serving them. And for some, maybe never were. I did a workshop today just before this show started. I was actually in a workshop today and last night called The Empowering of the Empath. And every single one of those students that I was connecting with had, when we started tuning into healing inner woundedness from inner child times of our life where we took in this belief that we weren't good enough, and when they each started to do their processing and realize where those things came from, a lot of them, I would say the majority of them, connected to a time where they were in a religious setting and they were shamed and told something was ultimately wrong with them. So one of the students, what he said was, I realized when I was like 6 years old that I felt everything was fine with me. I felt like I was a good person. And he was at Vacation Bible School. And he says he remembers just the message coming through was that overall, he was not a good person. He was a sinner. He was bad. And he had to do something and go and hook up with this Jesus guy. And if he did, he'd be saved and he'd be okay. He wouldn't go to hell. And he said he just felt it was off. Like he was 5 or 6 years old. And in his inner knowing, he knew this was out of alignment. So a lot of times when we're coming in, when we're babies, we're young, we're very open, we're very connected. So many clients that I connect with say that their, children have imaginary friends, or that their granddaughter was talking to great grandma and that it scared them. And it's nothing to be afraid of. These children are just very pure. They're very open. They're very much still connecting with where they came from, their higher consciousness. As they come into families that are creating fear and creating myth and story and invention, these bubbles of invention get projected on these children. And if those children don't accept them, then they will be shamed, they'll be punished, there'll be some kind of consequence. And then that child, will be shunned from that family. And it's a very gangster mentality. And if you don't think it's happening, really start looking. Look at religion, look at your own family, look at schools, public education, look at the military and the government. The systems are all here set up in a way to take a very awakened, aware being who has its own consciousness and free will, and to control that and to cause that energy to go into submission so that ultimately they control you now. And there's often shaming done and guilt and things to really hook a soul and drag it heavier in vibration. What I myself am here to do is to help awaken this so that everyone that's participating in it in their own way can start to see that with truth and start really looking at these dysfunctional things we're doing from an old program that we've been taught. Honor yourself and accept yourself fully. Realize I love myself so deeply, even though I realize there is some really misaligned things going on, and I have actively participated in them. And so, what am I going to do now in this fresh new moment to shift this energy into a higher vibration, into a more aligned direction? So, if we're as humans feeling shameful or guilty, or we've done something wrong, or we just identify with belief systems from others who have told us that we should feel guilty, then we will carry this heaviness. Talk to any 2-year-old child, and if you can bring me a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old child, 1 or 2 years old, that is rigid and militant about anything, I would love to talk to them. Because when I see children when they're like 1, 2 years old, they're just very open, they're very loving, they will tell you how they feel, they have a passionate voice about it. No, I don't want you to control me, I'm finding my own way. And they hug you right away. They want to play with you. They're angry one moment when they feel an emotion, and then they shift and they're right back to forgiving and playing. And this is really who we are. We're here to feel our emotions. We're here to honor and connect with whatever those emotions are and to process them. And then we're to release that energy. We're not meant to hold it. And we're definitely not built, and I don't feel in any part of myself that we were created to come in and be controlled and molded into little clones of each other and kind of pushed into this mold of conformity so that the bigger picture, whoever they are, can control the masses and feel safer from some myth that they created. And so if we really start to tune in and question things and we want truth, this is when truth will come. If you want to keep smoking the drug of all this bubble of invention, then you're not going to see the truth because you're taking the opium every day. And so if you really want to see truth, the first step is to stop taking the opium, stop drinking the Kool-Aid. You need to start investigating and tuning in meditation with your connection to source. When you're in the forest, what do you feel of God or of source in your connection with nature? When you're with someone who's dying and they're leaving their body and they're transitioning, what do you experience from that? What things came to you when you were open and just observing that experience? Because these are your experiences. These are your truth. These are things that are coming through to teach you. And so many of us will deny what we actually feel and what we're actually experiencing because we're identifying with a belief system of how things are. And so we really, and if we're going to become liberated and empowered, we need to shift that. And as an angelic messenger, that's what I'm here to help with. Angels are not associated with religion. Do they assist the religious? Absolutely. Do they assist Aboriginal tribes? Yes, they do. Do they assist people in the military on the front lines of war? Yes. Do they help children that are crossing the road? Yes. Angelic beings come in to assist humanity, period. We do not belong to a club. And part of the very issue I feel that starts to create tension and conflict is when humans in their fear start projecting a need to control and shame those who don't want to participate in their game of shame. And that's exactly when there starts to become a disharmony. If you just honor others in the way they are, if I see people who are unconscious and they're acting out and they're creating a lot of suffering, I don't have to go save them. I don't have to change them. It's not my job. It's not my responsibility. And even connecting with angelic energy, I don't have to go do anything about that. I can hold love for them. I can unconditionally love them. I can observe where they're going, what they're learning. If they come and they ask questions, I can assist them and tune in and bring them truth. But I'm not here to save them. And one of the things that came up in our Empowering the Empath class was a big part of empaths, and one of the big struggles that many of them have in common is they have an overinflated sense of responsibility of what they feel like they're here to save the world. Or maybe some of you are empathic and sensitive souls and you're like, I need to save all the animals, or I need to save all the trees. We're here to do what we can to assist in shifts that we feel passionate about. But if you're going out and trying to push and force feed your way on people, it's not going to work out so well. People don't really appreciate that. And so if we look at religion, we can see the history of religion where many have, missionaries have gone into other countries and gone into tribes, and they go in and they don't even know what they're entering. I was kind of making a reference today of like when we have missionaries go into Africa and they're having a rebel war in Africa, and missionaries go in between the two rebel wars that are happening, and they're just like, everyone, you just need Jesus. You just need to be saved. And they get killed, and then it's on the news, and everyone's in uproar. Oh my God, they killed white American Christians. It's those people are asking for trouble by going in there and forcing their way. And if we can start to really honor everyone's part of their journey, Africa has its own energy and it's clearing up its own energy. In Mexico, it's got its own energy. They're working on their stuff. In America, we've got our own energy, in our families, in ourself. So ultimately, our highest priority is our own alignment. So if I'm worrying about the world to the point that I'm depressed, I don't feel like there's any point to life, I feel suicidal, I have lost my power and I've lost my alignment. I am not going to be of much use. And if anything, if I really want to make a difference, I need to see that my energetic vibrational alignment of going into fear and into lack is me aligning with the problem. I'm not helping anyone or anything by losing my own joy to fix the wounded. So when we're in a more aligned place, we can be in a position of observer. We can observe the energy. We can assist where we feel guided intuitively to assist. And when others come and ask us our questions, or if we watch and see someone abusing someone in front of us, for example, an aligned empath will speak truth and shine the light on that to help liberate that human into shifting into a new vibration so that they don't continue to create abuse. Angelic beings are just high vibrational beings of love and light and consciousness coming in to assist humanity, to assist in a great awakening and a shift. They are not, I have not honestly seen them as human, like winged creatures that are fluffy, like little stuffed animals. And I definitely don't relate or identify to this belief system that religion had taught me, which was that they're like, cherubs, or they're just little sweet angels that are guardian angels, and they'll tolerate anything. Like you can never do anything that would make your angel steer away from you. And I don't agree. I feel angelic energies and angelic earth angels are humans, angelic beings in human form that are here to assist who they're able. But if someone is not showing respect or showing kindness and they're projecting hatred, it becomes dangerous, it becomes threatening. That person, that human angelic being, needs to shift and get into a place that actually honors their own alignment. If you go and just jump off to save everyone all the time, you're going to really lose the big picture. We're not here to do that. We are here to help those we can. We're here to honor those we can and empower those we can, but we're going to start with ourselves. So if I think, like, I'll look at an example that I can think of. I remember meeting a woman who was very rigid Mormon, and my son had a friend, and it was his mother, and she was always projecting that she needed, that I needed to get saved and I needed to go to church with her, and it was always fear. And I just observed her, and she was always stressed out, always in a panic. And I was not. I was pretty at ease. I was comfortable. I was at peace. And she was constantly pushing this. And one day we were having this long discussion, and I had been very patient. And finally I was like, you know what? You need to save yourself. You need to do whatever it is that's going to help you feel peace, because I'm good. I feel fine. And you clearly are not feeling fine. And you hooking me and getting me to join your club is not going to make you feel better. Getting more people to join your tribe is not going to make you feel better. It doesn't matter how you're doing it. If you're doing it because you're a politician, you're doing it as you're a healer, if you're doing it from a religious standpoint, it doesn't matter. What will make you feel better is connecting to source yourself. You personally addressing your misalignment and coming back to your connection with source so that you remember how loved you are, how supported you are, and how worthy you are. So when we're projecting that we need to save others, often I've observed like the type of people that go and volunteer for like Red Cross, or the people, and I'm not saying everyone, I'm just saying I've observed a lot of people that go and volunteer for church missionary camps and whatnot. And often they're people that are actually just not wanting to deal with their own stuff. They don't want to deal with their own thing, or they got a relationship that's not working out, so they're trying to run away. And we celebrate that running away in those situations because oh, look at they're being a missionary, they're being a helper, they're going out and they're trying to make a difference and bring Jesus to someone. And in truth, if you really study and observe the energy at hand, it is not always truthful. It is not always coming from alignment or coming from a true position of assisting. Sometimes it is a human trying to escape their own movie, their own situation. So some of that misconception I feel needs to clear because I can't tell you how many people I have. I mean, I mostly attract really loving people that are very supportive, but there is often times where I just mention that I'm an angelic healer and people just, it's like they freeze in fear, or I've had people run by me like, Jesus is the only one for me. And I'm just like, what? What's happening? Like, I don't even know what that means. And so, well, actually, I do know what they mean, but I don't understand why they're responding in such a fearful way, except for the fact that I know of what that system does is it teaches people to be afraid of anything other than what they tell them to believe in. I have heard so many people like, oh, my church told me do not listen to anything by Deepak Chopra. He is of the devil and not to let him in your mind. He will try to control your mind. And I'm just like, what? But this is people believe this stuff because their church tells them this very adamantly. And they're like, do not let anybody, get into your mind. Do not go to yoga. I had people really have a struggle to come to yoga because they thought I was like going to hypnotize them or control their brains. And what's so interesting to me is that the very people that are telling them not to let anything else in, not to read any other books but the Bible, not to go around anybody else except for Christians, are the very ones controlling their minds, and they don't even see it. It's what they're fearful of is happening to them. And what the people that are projecting the fear are the controllers. It's kind of like if you watch the movie, there's a Disney movie called Tangled, and I love this movie. It's about Rapunzel, and she's in a tower, and this witch kidnaps her from her family and takes her and puts her in a tower, and it's all about fear, and she wants to control her because she's a healer and she wants to stay young. And so basically Rapunzel eventually sneaks out on her own because every soul is going to rebel at some point when it's being forced to conform. So she sneaks out, she starts to explore the world, and her mother convinces her, and it's not even her mother, but she convinces her that the world is a scary place, it's bad, people just want to take her power, they want to take her energy. And what this witch is doing is trying to scare the crap out of Rapunzel so she won't explore or ask questions about anything. And ultimately, that projection that witch is doing of saying everything's fearful, don't trust anybody, is exactly the energy she is. And then Rapunzel is listening to the wrong being. And this is what I see with religion. We're told all this not questioning things and just do the rules and don't ask questions. And the very ones who are telling us all these fearful things, telling us that we were born in sin and that we're sinners unless we hook up with Jesus, they are out of alignment. They are creating this myth to control us. They're creating this myth to shame you into submission because then you're easy to manipulate. They call you flock for a reason. They often tend to the flock. They see you as a bunch of sheep, and they even mock you by saying so. And I feel like it's so important that we start to wake up to that. And myself connecting with angelic guidance is to bring liberation. It's to bring that truth. It's to bring, and even if that popping your bubble terrifies you, it's like I'm taking, as a messenger, if I see you smoking the opium, I'm kind of taking the drug away in my consciousness when I speak to you. I'm not giving you any opium. I'm kind of withholding that drug and just helping you for a minute to get oxygen and to actually have a moment to connect with yourself. And people that are terrified of someone like me are really terrified of truth. They're really terrified of realizing that that drug they've been taking for so long has always been a drug. And I honor them for that. I honor that feeling. There was a time I was a very totally faithful Christian. I had been told all these things and I was like, okay, I'm going to be a good girl. I'm going to follow the rules, even though I was always kind of a little bit rebellious because it didn't all make sense. So I was in trouble a lot. Like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Go to the hall, Tawnya. And so this energy that I experienced was like, wow, if you want them to love you, if you want them to accept you, you do what they say. But that feels terrible. okay, I guess I'll just get comfortable with feeling terrible. I'll just get comfortable with pleasing them and doing whatever I need to do to be enough, because apparently, if I don't do that, I'm going to this place called hell. I don't know what that is, but this place I'm in sure feels kind of bad. And so we end up creating hell because we're afraid of hell. The ones who live in a heaven on earth are the ones that live with freedom and liberation, and they live with truth and integrity and authentic connection with source. They live from that place of alignment, and they don't necessarily live in a place of fiction and of invention. And sometimes it looks like on the planet right now, like there's only a handful of these, what I see more like lions, and they do not feel they have ever been sheep, and they couldn't do it. It's just like being a sheep felt terrible and it didn't feel right. So they broke away from the pack. And the pack over here, the collective consciousness, is pretty heavy. It looks like the majority rules, the popularity contest is to be over here and suffer. And it's okay because one day we'll die and we'll go to hell or we'll go to heaven. So just go ahead and suffer, but eventually you'll earn your way into heaven. This is what most of them say. Then the ones that break free, it looks like there's not very many of them at first because they're just kind of, breaking the rules and breaking the boundaries of collective consciousness. And these are the ones that the majority will shame and call crazy. They're crazy, crazy witch woman, crazy angel lady. Like, what is she talking about? And they justify that shaming because they feel like if you want to be one with God or with whatever they're projecting, you have to stay in our little bubble of our collective consciousness. And if you break free of it and you challenge us to actually look at our own dysfunction, we will shame you. And even in some cases, if we're honest, they will kill you. This happens in government. It happens in the military. It happens in the religious systems. Often it is led right to bloodshed if humans do not conform and submit to that misaligned system. They don't take the drug, they resist the drug, they kill them. And this is not what we're here to live. And this is what I feel passionate as a messenger to bring that wisdom of liberation so that we can start to live from truth and alignment and stop taking the drugs that keep us stuck. Why do we take those drugs? At some level, it gives us a sense of false comfort. It makes us feel safer. It makes us feel superior. And if you don't believe, check into it. Why do you believe you're the ultimate religion? Why do you believe that you're the one that God will, bless and that will be the chosen ones? You all say this. Every single one of these religions says the same message in some form. The same thing goes with race. There are extremists in white Aryan nation, and there are extremists in blacks. There are extremists in Asian cultures. There's extremism all over the planet, and it's time for it to heal. Because if you don't do your work and you all stay in that big collective chaos bubble, you're going to annihilate each other. You're going to extinct yourselves. And so basically, you can listen and heed these warnings, and you can actually do your work to heal yourselves and to liberate yourselves, or you can sit back and really observe how you were a participant in the downfall of humanity. Your soul will keep going, and it will see and witness the results of all the actions you're taking and not taking. So it's really important that we start to open our eyes and be truthful and seek that truth and seek love. Let love guide our actions. Let's let love guide our mission and our expression, and love guide our connections with each other. Let them be authentic, not superficial connections that really just create harm and hurt. And this has to shift if we're really going to have joy in a big picture. So, I was flowing 30 minutes straight. I need to take a drink of water. So is there anybody calling in, writing in, sending me any bad energy? I hope not. But if there is, let me know.
No, so far, I mean, there's talk back and forth in the chat, but amen to what you were talking about. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Cool. So is there anybody, I give you a little invitation here if you want to call in, 919-518-9773, or if you want to write in a question or write in something like you can connect with a misconception of angels that you can relate to, something that you feel people believe this is what an angel is, and that's not true. So I invite that dialogue. I recently had a guy commission me to paint a painting, and he wanted me to paint a painting of Archangel Ariel, and I was going to show it to you all today. And this is exactly how she showed herself to me. I don't know if you guys can see it very well. Can you guys see that? Amnon?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so the way I see them when they show themselves to me, this is the universe back here, and this is her energy, and she's more energy than form. You can tell she's female, the heart shining, third eye shining. That's just kind of like a representation of higher consciousness. But the way I connect with these beings is they're very galactic. They're huge. They're not like a human just in a body. They can come in that form through consciousness. Like a human like myself is channeling them and connecting with them and bringing messages from them. When you see people that are channeling the Arcturians or channeling some of these galactic beings that are now coming into more awareness, they have very similar messages to the archangels that I connect with. And so ultimately, if you look at Christ or you look at an angelic being, they are, we're always worrying and afraid and having the debate about extraterrestrials and do extraterrestrials exist and is there other life out in the universe? And ultimately, I feel humanity is about to discover that yes, there is, and that these beings come through in consciousness to bring us liberation, to bring us truth, to bring us healing, to bring us solution. The simplest things when you guys are lost and you're needing direction and you're tuning in and asking for it, and suddenly someone comes along and you're like, how did that happen? Or, hey, angels, help me find my car keys. And you walk right up to them after you've been searching for hours. You're like, whoa, these simple things that are seemingly insignificant are powerful guidance and messages to show you that, yes, indeed, you have angelic beings around you. Yes, indeed, you have loved ones and there are ascended masters and beings that are coming through to guide you. If we want to stay ignorant, we'll keep believing that doesn't happen, and we'll stay in this constrictive belief system that is afraid of death, that is afraid of evolution, that is afraid of truth. Because one thing I see with the big picture of religion is that I grew up, and I can only speak from my experience, I grew up being told never read anything else but the Bible, never take anything else in as from God except for the Bible, and never add to it, never take away from it. I see that and how that would make sense for a religious movement if it wants to continue to impact, to continue powering and controlling people and, telling them how it is without them questioning. However, just in my simple awareness instantly as a child, I was like, that makes no sense for evolution because it's like a scientist saying, this is the way the planet is. It is flat. Do not question. Do not read any other books. Do not, let anything else come in because it's evil. It's bad. And that scientist is full of crap. What they're doing is that scientists would want to control the masses in believing the earth is flat because they want you to believe their way. That is ego. That is exactly what a lot of us are believing in is egoic fiction. So same thing goes with religion. Don't read anything but the Bible. Don't let anybody else talk to you. It's all about fear because they don't want you to question. They don't want you to explore and to find your own answers. They tell you you have to go talk to a priest or you need to go and pray and talk to your pastor or you need to go and get the answers from some external source. And even when their answers feel off to you, they're like, it's okay, go pray about it, go memorize some Bible verses, and eventually it'll make sense. And so I used to do it. I would be like, they'd talk about being homosexual and that's evil and bad. And I remember being a preteen and just thinking, that feels so off to me. Like, why would this God that I really feel a connection with, that loves me and that loves everyone, why would that God actually hate someone and want them to go to hell just because of who they fall in love with? That doesn't make any sense to me. And so I remember questioning that and getting in trouble and being told to go to the hall. And then when I came back, I questioned it again because that was just my personality. I can't help but question things that don't feel right. And then I was told, Tawnya, you just need to read your Bible. You're probably not reading your Bible, are you? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe not enough. And they're like, that's it. You need to read your Bible. You need to memorize these verses and then it'll all feel better. And it was like this silent, here, go take your opium, go and take it, and then eventually you'll forget you had that thought. That's exactly what they're doing. Same thing happens in public education. Why are so many kids depressed these days in school? Any guidance on that? I feel it's the same exact system happening. Children have insight. They know what they want to learn about. They know what they feel about things, and they go to ask questions, and they get told that they're in trouble for it. They get shamed for it. They get made fun of for it. They don't learn the same way as the majority, so they're laughed at and they're shamed. They don't kick right in kickball. You're the one that's getting picked on and teased. We do it all the time. I don't, but I'm just saying society does this all the time. If we want to shift that, we need to start listening to those ones that actually bring us awareness, the ones that actually say, hey, that doesn't make any sense. It would really serve the majority to listen to these courageous ones who have the courage to actually shine light on what you're saying to help you even explore this whole belief system that you should never question authority. I remember literally being told that by my dad. I love my dad. He was a very militant guy, very religious guy, very wounded guy, committed suicide. And I love that man, but very lost. But the whole time he was living, a lot about power and control, needing to push it on people, needing to, make them know how it goes. And I'm the one that's in charge. I'm the one that runs the show. And very wounded guy, big picture. And he, in that energy of fear, did not feel free himself. And I feel we all have to get to that place where we really can look at the fact that we should question things and that we should ask questions. And if somebody comes along and they're just saying, do what I say because I'm in authority, I don't agree with that. I've seen men shame their women and yell at them in public. I'm like, you do not really have a right to talk to her like that. And I get the dirty stink eye, but it's true. When are we going to each stick up for each other and love ourselves and love each other? We can't continue to stand by and tolerate and observe abuse and pretend that it's not happening. And if we see school systems where children are shamed, they're not honored, and we just treat them like little robots that we're slowly, after about 12, 13 years, when we keep them in the system long enough, it's like herding cattle. We got these young cows that are very optimistic and like, ooh, what's this planet? And then we're getting them fattened up and we're like conforming them into this direction just so that we can slay them at the end and we can take their very life force. That sounds terrible to me. And yet we're doing it every day and no one's questioning it. Well, I can't say no one is. There are definitely people questioning it, but we need to all start to really look at, are we participating in the problem? Are we participating in the myth and in the fiction, the invention? Or are we participating in the truth, the liberation, and the empowerment? So,
And you
did
have
somebody
a call.
call in?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, Eileen.
Oh, hello.
I knew it was going to be her. I was like, Eileen's calling.
What's that?
Oh, I said I totally knew it was you. I just intuitively, I'm like, that's Eileen calling. And then it was. So I'm like, awesome.
Who else would it be? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, we've had other people.
No,
So
yeah, totally.
what's your question?
Yeah, that's great. My question, oh, okay. Well, I guess I was just going to kind of, just give a little insight on what you've been talking about, why these mindsets exist on this planet. And because the thing is, as you know, it doesn't matter what system it is, because it's within all systems on this planet right now, education, economic, religion, all of it. It all comes down to it's a very linear mindset. It's like linear, it's analytical, it's single-minded, it's always moving in just one direction. And the problem with that is that the cycle of life on this planet is not linear. It's very cyclical, just like human beings are cyclical, and we're all truly multifaceted beings. We cannot simply exist in one way, learn in one way, work the same job as everyone else, and expect to be happy or grow and expand.
Exactly.
Because, and as you know, it all comes down to when that huge shift occurred on our planet long ago, where the feminine was squashed and the masculine, like the shadow masculine, not even because I don't
Not
even
the
feel like
aligned masculine, the wounded
right,
male energy.
divine masculine, the one that's returning now, slowly but surely. But
Yes.
it's been the shadow masculine that's been running the show for so long, and that's why we're seeing these systems. But yes, long ago, when the divine feminine and sacred masculine were more in balance on this planet, because there was a time like that. It was very long ago though, but it's still in like all of our subconscious minds. Like we remember on some level, we remember like ancient times of living in peace with the earth, and everyone contributed all of their, just all of their talents and passions, and everything was in balance because it was just like simple freedom. So
Yes.
it's like, how do we, I guess my question now is, because this is on my mind all the time, is we are in the process of ascension and creating a new world. What do you see will be the next steps for humanity to bring in this new world of like just going back to the earth? Like, where do you
Okay.
see that going?
Okay. Well, what I'm seeing is kind of in that message that was coming through me really passionately was that we really are at this urgent place of shifting and paying attention at this time. And it really can go either direction. I know that the angelic beings, their intention, and like Arcturian energy, their intention is to protect planet Earth and to awaken humanity. That is the very intention of why we're even here. The ones that are listening, they are starting to heal and shift a lot. Like people like yourself, Eileen, that have really done their work and continuously practicing awareness and mindfulness and connecting and loving self and healing all these deeper wounds that have been projected. And so I feel the solution, it's going to seem so simple, but it's because everything usually ends up being quite simple. And what's going to happen to help everything shift on the planet is every one of the souls listening today or not listening today, but as they get this message and as consciousness comes to them, as they're open to receiving it, every one of those souls focusing on their own alignment, focusing on their own joy and passion and soul mission, and focusing on contributing to that passion and contributing to their soul mission and not letting other things be more important. Money's not more important. The other relationship of whoever you're dating is not more important. Your career is not more important. Your status, none of that is more important than your own alignment. Because when you actually do your own healing work and you heal all the woundedness in self and you remember how to love yourself, you will then look out of the eyes of love. Until you heal yourself, you could be out trying to save the trees, save the planet, save the people, save the children in Africa. You can have good intentions, but you still don't love yourself and you still are creating hatred every day in your energy towards self. And so, in essence, you're feeding to the misalignment by distracting yourself from your ultimate highest solution, which is healing self. Does that make sense?
Yes, oh, completely. That's something else I've been feeling too is like, people, talking about the whole sheep mentality, and then there's more and more lions arising, and
Mm-hmm.
how it's just kind of like people are looking outside to the systems, like how are the systems going to save us? How are the systems going to fix everything? Or it's kind of like we must fix the systems, but in my mind's
Exactly.
eye, I see what's really going to help us as humanity and this planet is if, yes, each person is doing their work and their healing work and just always striving to love themselves and to be their best self. Now imagine if every single person did that,
Yes.
and then we would
Imagine.
create a whole new world. We wouldn't need any of these systems. I mean, who knows? Maybe we would create new kinds of systems, or maybe it would be
That would
something,
honor
maybe
the whole.
something, right,
Mm-hmm.
honor the whole for all. Like maybe it's like these amazing realities that we can't even picture yet because they're so beautiful, and like we
Yes.
will be able to, once we fully step into that power of healing ourselves and really just like each day I'm going to work the best I can on myself and reach out to others in some way, or just,
Yes.
and it's not even just about all working outwardly or anything like that. It's just like, how am I going to make each day the best day to just feel
Yes.
good?
Yes. And so on that note, what's interesting is, as a healer, I'm assisting with auric clearings that are often something that people that come to me, some of them understand and comprehend it, and some are like, my friend sent me. I'm really in a bad place. I don't really know what you're doing. They're a little nervous, but then I connect with them and help ease their mind. Like, it's okay. I'm just going to assist you with seeing what you need to see, and we're going to release what you're ready to release. It's really nothing big deal, nothing scary. And as I work with them and they start going through these clearing processes, I see amazing miracles happen. But until a soul is even conscious enough to question what they're doing to themselves, to question the reason they tolerate abuse every day, to question why they work at a job they hate and that it's killing them and they're sick in their body. Until there's enough consciousness there to question that and to actually step in and ask for assistance and to trust, then those humans are choosing through free will the suffering path. And we've chosen it. Eileen and I both have chosen that path in our own time. We chose to walk in that path of suffering until we were done, until we were ready to clear it and release it. And we learned what we needed to learn while we walked it. And every one of you listening, at some level, if you're suffering in some way, you chose this as a soul. And if you can honor that, like, wow, why would I choose this? That's the first thing that people will say is, why? Great. Start asking. Start asking those questions. Why would I have chosen this? And then start listening, because when we start to listen and tune in, we'll start getting the guidance we need to actually shift and clear this stuff. And so one of the things last night, I was introduced to body talk years ago. I've been certified in that. And then I learned about tapping, which is very similar to body talk. And just there was a problem I had, not with the modality. I felt the modality was actually made a lot of sense. But I remember going to this conference when I got certified in Portland, and this guy that was leading it was so full of ego and he was so out of alignment. And I really struggled to align with this modality because of him. And during the training, I remember just feeling this resistance. And then when I got home and I really was looking at the training materials, I was like, this is actually a really good thing. And I just need to shake off this teacher that was really not in alignment and not take that too personal to where I discount the wisdom here. And so last night and this morning, I was working with souls that all were in a place where they were really being challenged. They all showed up very vulnerable and they're like, I could just feel it. And I'm like, what's going on, guys? And we started tuning into it. And so what Spirit led me to do was to show them how to do some tapping, like tapping on different points of their body in the energy of intention that it's not about the tapping, but if you guys are open to it today, I'll lead a little bit so you can practice. And this is something you can do on your own. You can connect and talk to your angels on your own. And when you want the help and assistance of a healer to guide you and help you see the stuff you can't see or that you're not able to see or even wanting to see, that's where I come in. That's where a healer comes in. We can help assist you with that. But every day, our goal is to teach you how to do this on your own, because really, we're all coming to this place of liberation where we want to know how to connect with our source every moment of every day, stay connected. And how do we heal? How do we get our balance back? Our cells of our body are so intelligent. They are always striving to recalibrate and find alignment, but we are putting them through hell, through our worrying, through our stress, through our overdoing, through our toxic environments, our toxic relationships, our toxic thoughts about ourselves. All of this energy that's bombarding you of negativity will take a toll on your energetic body, and your cellular body will start to go into war with itself. And this is where we create things like cancer. This is why people fighting cancer and going and walking and protesting cancer, good luck with that. You're not going to solve it from fighting it. You're not going to solve it from wearing a t-shirt and walking with a billboard. You're going to solve it from loving yourself. You're going to solve it because that mom that has cancer, that keeps getting cancer, starts to see the pattern that she is not loving herself. She is not honoring herself. She puts herself last, and then she manifests cancer.
That's fine. Yeah, like actually, there's this excellent book called, it's by Christiane Northrup, MD, and she writes a book about women's bodies. I forget the title of it, but yeah, in the book.
Yeah, I actually know that lady's name. I've heard that before.
Yeah, she's great too. She brings a spiritual perspective into, women's bodies, which is wonderful. I'm going to probably buy the book soon just because that's my interest in studying women more. But
Yes.
yes, the women that get cancer, they've now proven that cancer is linked to over mothering, because we live in a society where mothers are not valued and they're practically invisible, and yet they're expected to do all the work for their families and for society without any
not be
credit
honored.
or without loving themselves. And so that's
Yep.
why there's so much breast cancer now, is because they're not nurturing themselves first.
And that's a great point. Like reading books like the one you mentioned, and then there's books by Louise Hay, like Heal Your Body. And if this is new, like some of you listening, if this concept seems new and foreign, like what? Like, what do you mean you can heal a sickness because of your shift in your belief about yourself or your shift in loving yourself? I promise you, you can. And as you start to explore this, this is where our healthcare is going. I see the future of healthcare as being angelic auric clearing healers, shamanic healers, Reiki practitioners, acupuncturists, people that are doing tapping, and people that are doing past life regression therapy. I see the new world of healing will be very spiritually based. There won't be,
Yes.
it's not like the modern world right now with like therapy cannot even talk about these things and cannot even honor or connect with them because that's not in the rules. And because of it, nothing gets solved. People just talk about their problems for years and years and years, spend a lot of money, feel frustrated, leave, go get a new therapist, do the same thing. And the ones that have the breakthroughs are the ones that actually find a healer that can help them to not just talk about those problems, but help them to see the energetic patterns of those issues that they keep re-manifesting and help them to dissolve and transcend them, help them to clear them so that they can come into a higher vibrational experience and they don't need to go there anymore. But the old system, it's like an old program in a computer that's outmoded. It's not working anymore. So the new program is what is coming in right now when we're feeling ascension symptoms and we're feeling uploading and we get dizzy or we feel kind of really tired all of a sudden, or there's just all kinds of symptoms we're starting to feel. Honor your body and go and rest and go and be and just open yourself to receiving. Open yourself to resting. Stop feeling guilty to just be. So many, like when we get into the mother thing, I was talking about that last night as being a mom. When I was younger, I actually felt a lot of guilt to just relax. I was always, I got to clean something. I need to cook dinner now. Okay, now I should go get the kids. Now I should go clean the kids' room. And to sit down and just like enjoy a movie, I couldn't do it for a long time. And eventually I started to really feel exhausted. And when I finally started to really do a lot of self-healing work, I realized, oh my God, like, why do I have trouble just relaxing and just being? And it made me cry. And I started to see how much I had lost my balance in trying to please and trying to be enough for all these people that needed me. And it was not really fulfilling to me. And so we've got to really find that balance of how do I live a fulfilling, purposeful life by living inspiring others through my own alignment. Not how do I go be a nurse or a mom and go save everybody and go do all their work for them and clean up their messes. Not going to work in the future new earth that we're creating. We're here to empower each other. We're not here to enable each other. We're not here to enable the child that keeps creating messes by cleaning up their messes constantly because we don't want them to suffer. They need to suffer to learn that they need to clean up their messes. And so if you're trying to prevent that awareness to come in because you think it's your responsibility to carry that, you're going to take the hit energetically and you're going to suffer. And that's not even helping your child. Make sense? Hey, it's 555. Time for change, people.
I actually saw that number a ton, like every day this week going back to school. Because
Nice.
like I entered the school environment like the first couple of days, like, you know, very intuitively connected within myself and feeling really good. And then somewhere around like midweek or so, I started feeling kind of like just bogged down or insecure again. And I'm like, where is all this coming from? And I tuned into it, and it was coming from kind of like my past experiences with college, but also like I was absorbing everyone else's energy. So I'm like, okay, I need
That's
to
what
like.
I sensed. I was like, you're in their
Yeah.
bubble. Put your shield up. Shine your light.
Right. Yeah, because it's like I'm going into this misaligned college system, because I see through a lot of it too. Like, so many things need to be changed in the college system, because it's like, hey, we all love to learn, we all want to grow. Like, I'm going back there for caregiver training classes. Like, hey, this is gonna help boost my skills so I can be a better caregiver and help me get into the field more. Like, that's great, but it's just kind of like the stress of like the daily routines, and then people's energy and like the ego. There's still a lot of ego in higher education, which is like another really huge problem
Yes.
that I really see there. But anyways, despite the fluctuations of how I felt or what was going on, the angelic signs are still consistent.
Yep.
And so, like, yes, all throughout the week I kept seeing 555, like, just telling me, like, yep, you're on the right path. Just keep going, just keep doing your
Yes.
thing. And that's what I tell people, that's what I was telling my friend is, like, you don't go looking for the signs. They will come to you when you're fully in tune with yourself.
Yes. And one of the things, like if you look up 555 and how it's about new change and a new way of seeing and new change in direction, I sense what I'm getting intuitively with you seeing that so much and you being in that system, and it's kind of challenging some past cellular memory connected to that experience. At the same time, you said you feel like you're absorbing the people's energy there. So if we get back to your overall goal and intention is to be a caregiver, and that is beautiful and to be commended, but your first priority is self-love. Your first priority is staying in your alignment vibrationally and not not absorbing anyone's stuff, but observing their stuff in a way where you keep shining and feel in a high vibration. So
yes, that's what I want to do, because that's what I was doing. But then somewhere along the line, it just, being highly sensitive in, say, a huge room full of people that feel like intimidated or scared or depressed, like I can shield up, which I need to do more, but sometimes it's like I just got to go home and like
take a salt bath.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, yeah, so I want to do that. I want to just stay focused on my mission and just really keep being that bright light to others. Because, like, there are, like, students I've connected with that loved that, who were also on that level, who, were like, yeah, there's someone else here like me, that connection. Yeah. And so I love those daily connections where I come across other beings who are like, we recognize each other. We're on our mission,
Yes. Yeah. Well, and it's very intentional to have people that you've kind of chosen to connect with at times to keep you focused so that you don't get caught up in that collective again and lose consciousness. And so when you know you're choosing to walk into environments like that, like we talked about then in the workshop today, like say this guy was like, yeah, sometimes I go to like a bar and my friends want to hang out and they're a little different energy than me, but I go. But how does he not absorb their energy? He says he won't be doing drugs, but he's been around friends who did, and he doesn't even need to take them, and he feels off, and he can't sleep till like 7 a.m. in the morning. And I was like, this is like me when I walk into a Starbucks. I don't even have to drink the coffee. I can just be in that room, and I'm like, oh, like I can feel the energy. So we have, as empaths, we've got to really shine our light and set the intention when you enter that room. First of all, do you need to enter that room? That's a huge question. Does my soul's highest good need to come into this environment? And if it's for my highest good, I will go in my power and I will enter with consciousness and I will enter with my power, my light, and I will observe the energy. I will not absorb it. Like you set the intention that you're like the sun and your sunlight rays just burn off any low vibration. Anything tries to come through the atmosphere of your auric field, it burns off because it can't even get to your core because your core is such light. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Definitely.
So these are things that empaths can practice this. So when you go enter the classroom on Tuesday, she's in her power, she's in her light. Oh, I felt awesome. I went home, everything felt good. Thursday, I'm a little tired. I didn't wake up on time. I had to get going. I was in a rush. I forgot to enter with consciousness. Oh my God, I feel all this energy. And it's just, whoa, I'm feeling all this energy. Right then, you can either right then close your eyes and connect and send that light out. Or sometimes, like if I was in a restaurant and I suddenly feel anxiety, I'm going to go to the bathroom and I go to the restroom and I will just send my light out. I'll burn off any energies. I'll consciously say, anything that is not mine, I release now. And I have to
Yes.
intentionally keep doing that, because otherwise you're like carrying all this energy around. By the end of the day, you feel
Right.
exhausted and irritated, right?
Yeah, yeah, I felt that way, times before. So it's kind of like a energy regulation where you're filtering stuff out throughout the day instead of letting it build up.
Yes. 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 And that will help you
So,
so much. So, Amnon, do I have a few minutes to show them some tapping before we end?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. I really feel like I want to empower you all with something you can very tangibly practice. And I cannot underestimate the importance of meditation every day. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's just 10 to 20 minutes a day where you go and get quiet. You can sit in nature. You can sit in your bedroom. You can lay down wherever you can go, where you can relax and be quiet and close your eyes and just kind of let yourself be neutral in vibration. Let yourself relax and come into a place of ease. This space of ease is more powerful than our planet is giving credit right now, but it will shift. There will be a day we will all look back and be like, whoa, what were we thinking to not honor the feminine energy of receptivity? And so, going into this place where every day you can consciously be still and just receive. You can lay there and you don't have to do anything fancy. You might fall asleep. And if you do, you totally did it fine because you're tired and you needed to rest. You might lay down the next day and you feel like, oh, I just feel like I got a second wind. I feel more energy. The key is consistency. So every single day, claiming time to be still and quiet and receptive. If you have questions that you're working on in your life, anything, this is when you can tune into spirit and just say, source, angels, whatever you want to connect and however you want to say it. I am open to receiving guidance on blank. I am open to seeing direction and being led on blank. Please assist me. I'm listening. And then you're just quiet and you're just listening and receiving. This is going to really help us to start balancing things in ourselves. Our masculine energy is very important and very honored, and we think we should be doing something all the time. And the feminine is not getting much honor still in ourselves. If we want to honor the feminine on the planet, we start with self. If we're not honoring our need for receptivity, our need for rejuvenation, our need for stillness, our need to honor intuition, we can't expect it to heal on the planet. It's a reflection outside of the inner. So we've got to start practicing meditation because we want to cultivate balance. People that struggle with like bipolar, depression, different kinds of anxiety and like ADD, ADHD, all these words we give it, it's really just a matter of not being in balance vibrationally. So we need to honor the feminine aspects. We need to bring the balance to being and doing. They are both incredibly powerful. And when we're being and we take action from that alignment of what we receive in that receptive space, it's going to be much more aligned energy and action that we take than if we just go do stuff a lot and then we don't really tune in. This is when we create chaos and destruction. So that's one thing I would encourage all of you to practice every single day. If you got to put it in your phone, put it on your calendar, whatever you got to do. If you're working long hours at the office, just take a break and go and lean back in your chair and turn the lights out for 10 minutes and connect with your breath. It will do your body so much good, and it will help your soul remember that it is a soul, because when we're not connecting, we think we're just a body, or we think we're just our brain, and we become very separation anxiety. We're like little puppies that are afraid that we're left alone because we're not tuning into source. So if you just start to practice connecting in that way, it will help do wonders. Second thing is to really be conscious when you're entering environments, that you are entering with conscious awareness, that you are observing, you're letting energy come and touch you and bring you information, but you're saying, I do not let anything that is not mine come into my sacred space, my bubble. You set that intention and set healthy boundaries in your relationships, in your intention when you enter, and you let information come in with wisdom and then you release it. You set the intention to do this. If you don't start setting these intentions, you become sponges and you walk in and you absorb energy and it's exhausting. So we got to start really practicing this new tool of observe, receive the information, process, release it. And it's constantly through the day we're doing this. And then the tapping. I'm going to give you a modality you can practice. Again, the tapping itself is not the magic. It is you that has the power. It is you that is saying, I have the ability and power to clear energy, any energy. If you have a pain in your body right now, it is not something solid and permanent. It is an energy that is in your body that is creating an energy of that we identify and call pain. If we're feeling sadness, you are not sad. You're feeling an energy of sadness. You're feeling an energy of complacency. So if we stop identifying ourselves, like if people are like, oh, well, I went to the doctor and I looked for all these symptoms and I think I've got bipolar, we've got to stop doing that. This is not alignment. You're looking for a problem, you will make more problem, I promise you. So instead of identifying to a problem, we have to start to look for solution, and we start to do things with the intention, knowing that we are creators. We have to start to claim back our power as creators. And the reason we invent gods externally is because we are afraid of our own power. So we have to seek a god or a guru that can tell us what to do. We're not here to do that anymore. We're here to wake up to realize we are all gurus together. We're all gods. We're all creators. And as we start to consciously understand that, and we're like, okay, I, Tawnya, have a tension, a pain in my shoulder. So this energy of pain, it's an energy. I remember that. It's an energy. It's not mine. I don't have to keep it. I don't have to talk about my shoulder injury. Remember that college shoulder injury? I hear people do it and they hold on to the pain. So if I can tune in and go, okay, there's an energy here and it feels uncomfortable, what we're going to do is I'm going to have all of you close your eyes, whoever's tuning in, close your eyes, and I want you to connect with whatever pain or whatever uncomfortable energy is in you right now, something that comes to mind right away. It could be sadness. It could be you just feel depressed, like what's the point? It could be a heaviness on your chest of anger. It could be pain, like just physical pain, emotional or mental. So take a moment to tune in and feel whatever energy's there. And then I want you, with your eyes closed, to tune in and kind of feel that energy and give it a number between 1 to 10. Like if you could feel an energy level, how much pain or how much discomfort is there from 1 to 10? And Eileen, we'll use you kind of live. So are you tuning in?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So did you connect with something?
Yes. I connected physically with my lower back, and I would say it's about a 5 because I've been laying on my belly all day doing online homework.
Okay. Okay. So she's feeling it's about at a 5 and it's in her low back. So if you close your eyes and tune into that energy, what's like if you tune into it and ask it, like, what is going on here? What is this pain about? And then what's the feeling you get? And if you don't get anything, that's okay. But just we want to practice communicating with our bodies and realize our bodies are very intelligent and they will communicate with us.
I sense that I definitely just need to move my body a lot more and I just need to develop a better schedule both for schoolwork and for exercise because I don't want to compromise one or the other. So kind of finding that balance.
Perfect. So you may just need to be working your core, do a little belly dancing, something to keep your movement and to move the energy so it's not getting stuck.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So now, as you close your eyes and you're tuning into that energy again, you feel that, do you feel like it's pain in your back? Like it feels like an energy of pain?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Okay, so while I'm doing this with Eileen, if you're having something different, I want you to listen to what I'm saying, but also practice this with us live, but you're going to use different words. So maybe for someone that's listening that's feeling depression, and that depression is at their heart, they feel heaviness, I feel pain here, I feel sad here, and they start tuning into it. You're going to tune into that energy, and I'll be working with Eileen live, but you can shift the words and things to accommodate whatever you're tuning into. So as you're tuning into that, Eileen, you can watch me on the screen, open your eyes now, but I'm going to tell you what to say the first time just to give you guys a script to go with, kind of like a recipe. But I want you to all be very open and intuitive with this day to day as you practice it, because it's not rigid. Nothing is to be rigid and to be scripted and held on tightly to. It's just me guiding you with a recipe that you can vibrationally shift moment by moment with the intention that is required and with the intuitive guidance that you receive. Okay? So,
All right.
okay, so Eileen, we're just going to tune into that pain in your back. And as we do, you're going to tap on your hands. And this, go ahead and say this with me if you like out loud, or you can say it in your head. I encourage you guys at home, if you don't feel like people are going to, judge you, first, you'll eventually get over worrying about what people think of you. But if it feels uncomfortable to say it out loud, you can say this in your mind. But I do feel there is power in expressing things out loud to really make them voiced into the universe. So as you're tapping, even though I have this pain in my back,
Even though I have this pain in my back,
I still deeply love and accept myself.
I still deeply love and accept myself.
And then tapping the eyes, I now release this energy of pain.
I now release this energy of pain.
I am a powerful healer.
I am a powerful healer.
I now clear this energy. It's right under your nose, above your lip.
I now clear this energy.
It is easy and natural for me to clear energy.
It is easy and natural for me to clear energy.
And then to the kind of like collarbone area, I now deeply love and accept myself.
I now deeply love and accept myself.
And then under kind of like your bra line, under your arm, I now am ready to release this energy.
I now am ready to release this energy.
And then top of the head, I am easily and effortlessly releasing and clearing energy.
I am easily and effortlessly releasing and clearing energy.
And then the heart, I am now releasing this energy. I love myself completely.
I am now releasing this energy. I love myself completely.
And then the head one more time. I am now open to any assistance in clearing this energy.
I am now open to any assistance in clearing this energy.
And then back to the heart. I am a powerful healer. I deeply love and accept myself.
I am a powerful healer. I deeply love and accept myself.
And now close your eyes and tune into that energy again and tune into that space in your body. And do you notice a shift that happened yet?
A little bit, yeah. I definitely feel lighter.
That's pretty common. The first round, people will say, I feel lighter, or maybe like it went down a number. And that's pretty common. And one girl last night said, I feel like the pain is still there, but there's like space around it. And as if I'm observing it now, like it's not mine. And I'm like, perfect, because we have to honor this process. It's kind of like if you take an onion and you're slowly peeling the layers away of the onion, don't underestimate the importance of that first layer to where you get frustrated and think nothing's happening. Because in a clearing, in an energy healing, there is a vibrational process of layer being peeled after layer. And same thing happens in meditation, where we'll feel layers of our emotional body healing, or layers of the mental body can heal. So we're gonna do this one more time. And this time, I want you to intuitively tune into your own words, and everyone can kind of listen to you. And just starting is, again, you're connecting with that energy of pain, that even though this energy, I'll start you with this one, and then I'm going to let you go. Even though I still feel some pain.
Even though I still feel some pain.
I deeply love and accept myself.
I deeply love and accept myself.
And if you guys are following along, go ahead and do this second round with us. So go ahead, Eileen, what do you feel right here intuitively you want to say?
Oh, right now I just feel, as far as like a number, it's gone down to like maybe a 2. Like it's, definitely not as embedded in my body.
Okay, so let's go and keep going with that. So you start here. Now back at the eyes. I am now powerfully clearing this energy.
I am now powerfully clearing this energy.
And then side of the eyes, I am a powerful healer.
I am a powerful healer.
I love myself deeply.
I love myself deeply.
I now release this energy.
I now release this energy.
And then collarbone, I accept spiritual guidance and assistance as I clear this energy.
I accept spiritual guidance and assistance as I clear this energy.
And then under the brow line, I now easily release this energy of pain.
I now easily release this energy of pain.
And then to the mind, it is possible for me to clear energy on my own.
It is possible for me to clear energy on my own.
And then heart, I deeply love and accept myself.
I deeply love and accept myself.
And then the head one more time, I now fully release this energy. I no longer need it.
I now release this energy. I no longer need it.
And then back to the heart, I deeply love and accept myself. I deserve healing.
I deeply love and accept myself. I deserve healing.
So now when you close your eyes and tune in, what are you sensing? And take a deep breath and kind of clear that energy with your breath. And what do you sense?
I sense that it's definitely going away less and less. And as you were doing the exercise of going between head and heart, that's also what I intuitively feel on a personal level, where there's resistance to healing or where there's more needed healing to be able to be a self-healer and healer for others. That's kind of what I'm intuitively feeling.
Yes. And this is what we're here to teach each other, is to help in this. But in order for us to even do that, we have to heal ourselves to even be aligned leaders to help others, right?
Yeah, and the funny thing is that I started, my spiritual healing journey at a young age when I was just like 16, 17. And, I've had the privilege to work with many like beautiful healers and teachers over time. But what I found with a good majority of them is that they kind of like wanted to push me and rush me to become a healer right away. And it's like I even felt myself. I'm like, come on, I've been Reiki attuned since I was 17. I'm now almost 22. How come I'm not this like master healer that has her business like these other healers? Not that I'm a person that likes to compare. I don't like to compare at all, but I was wondering in my mind, should I be at that level now too? And like, it's like, okay, it's coming. Like, I know it's coming in this lifetime. It just, it might not be until who knows when, but it's like, it's definitely that self-healing work you have to do first, like fully.
Yes.
You cannot.
Well, and I feel if you really look at like healers that are pushing you, that are trying to push you to do something really quickly, check in with that. Like, why are they pushing you to do something? And sometimes their energy, if they're in a pushy energy, it could be showing you a mirroring of where they need healing, like that there's healing in them to still be done, because it's really about honoring the flow of when we're ready. And so really an aligned teacher will teach you to feel that and to honor that flow. And like, well, how is this feeling to you? Like, I've had people come to yoga trainings and they're like, Tawnya, I'm just not feeling it today. I'm like, okay, I will see you next time. And I'll tune into them. If I feel like they're procrastinating out of fear, I'll challenge them. Like, are you in fear? Are you trying to sabotage yourself? Because if I sense that, I will say that. But if they're just not able to come, they're not feeling well, or they're overwhelmed from something, when we're in alignment, we honor that in each other. And that's okay. And we'll get there when we're ready. And as a healer, like anything, it's like your flower will blossom exactly when it's ready to. You don't want anyone coming in there and trying to yank your petals open, or it could actually be the demise of that flower. So you want to honor that opening in a very natural, organic way. Make sense?
I've been feeling that too. Yeah, like it's kind of like for me, all last year was like a year of healing. And I feel like this year will be that way too. And it's like, for me, like what I'm intuitively sensing is it might be another year to 2 years before I actually step into that full power of like having my own healing business. I just think it's like I'm still needing to build myself up and mature a little more before I feel
Yes.
like I can truly be that leader or that healer. Like I
And
don't
that's
want to like
honor that.
yeah, right.
Honor
And
that.
it's like because I definitely do a lot of my own work on my own. It's like I'm not one of those people that's like a workshop junkie or oh I'm just going to go to the healer and have them heal me all the time.
Yeah,
Like
you
I'm
go
not
when you know
that
you
kind
need
of
the help, but you work on yourself in the meantime.
right, exactly. So it's like I feel like it's that balance too. You know, it's just again that balance of honoring self and others through that healing process. And when it's that time, I will. You know.
Yes. And that's great.
So
And like really you're the one that will know that. So just keep, keep in that awareness, keep with that self-healing. And all of you listening, if you want to continue to practice this, like you can do it anytime. It could be you're in the car and you're having anxiety and you're really kind of getting down on yourself and your ego's talking like, what's wrong with you? As soon as that energy happens, if you can pull aside and start tapping, even though I'm feeling anxiety, I still deeply and completely accept myself and then go through releasing this anxiety. I am now powerfully clearing this energy. You start to connect with the energy and you start to clear it consciously. You're releasing it. You're not identifying with it. You guys are not your emotions. You're not your energy. Energy is like, honestly, emotions and energy are like the clouds in the northwest and they move all the time. So if you try to identify to those clouds, you're going to really get taken for a ride and it's going to feel very disruptive. But if you just enjoy the energy as it arrives and brings you messages, it will be a more enjoyable journey. And you're really here to have an enjoyable journey and thrive. So I hope that you guys will practice that. If you have questions, you can all email me or you can contact me through my website um, or call in live next time. Did anybody else write in, Amnon, or have anything they wanted to comment?
Nope. And
Okay.
Eileen is saying it hung up. Oh, well,
Oh, okay.
all
It
right.
hung up.
All
Well,
right.
thank you, Eileen. Thank you for calling in. And that was cool for her to kind of be our practice person with the healing modality. And I hope you guys practiced along with. And any of you who didn't, it's go and after I will up this, I cannot talk now. I will upload this show later this evening. So maybe look for it tomorrow. If you follow me on Facebook under Tawnya Love, I post it on Facebook all the time. If not, I'll upload it to YouTube and it's under Tawnya Angel, Tawnya Angel, and go on there and follow me on YouTube. And then that way you can tune in and watch any show. But this show in particular, if you want to keep it copied somewhere so you can refer back to it with that healing modality at the end, remember to do that. And that way you guys can practice. If you forget what to say, it's me just guiding you with some words. But remember to start practicing your own intuitive connection with what you're needing to clear, what you're feeling, and just watch how quick. I seriously observed how fast my clients will heal when I work with this stuff with them. And if they get to a big block that they really need some more assistance, that's when we work with them in a clearing and we get deeper involved. But this can be a lot of stuff that you guys can start doing on your own to prepare you for bigger shifts is these little baby steps. Don't underestimate them and don't judge yourselves. Like look at yourselves in consciousness the way I as a healer will stay compassionate about insanity around me and like misalignment around me is I can see energies like humans that are creating destruction and violence and suffering, kind of like how as a mother I would see a baby learning how to take its first steps. That baby's trying its best, it's trying to figure it out, it's trying to walk, and we just want to stay there and kind of cheer them on and guide them into the right direction. But we don't want to shame them whenever they fall and make fun of them and mock them to where it causes them to feel like, what's the point of even walking? And so think about yourselves like that. If you're shaming yourself, like, oh, I should know this by now. Oh, what's wrong with me? Gosh, why can't I meditate? These frustration energies, if you attach to them, will become very destructive. And in essence, they're just a distraction to keep you off the path. So if you can shake that off and be very compassionate with yourself, I deeply love and accept myself, that part's very important. And practice that. Like if you're moving through some tension, a boyfriend just broke up with you and, oh, you feel your heart contracting and it's feeling tense. rather than take all that energy on as something's wrong with you, we do have an option to tune into that energy and to deeply love and accept ourselves as we clear and release the energy and learn the lesson from it. That's what we're here to do. We aren't here to carry stuff and suffer. That is optional. So I thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope this was helpful and will help you in the long run. And if any of you want to connect and tune in remotely or in person, you know how to find me. Reach out. Don't procrastinate your healing. Really start to see yourself as the priority. Nothing out there is more important than your own alignment and your own health. Nothing. That's right. Train wreck. You don't want to ignore your own alignment. It will not work out big picture. So I thank you guys, and thank you, Amnon, for being patient, because we went over like almost half an hour, but that was pretty awesome. So I will tune in with you guys next Sunday at 5, and I hope you have a blessed, beautiful, and abundant week. Thank you so much. Namaste.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCBVI members, The Tawnya Love Show,